Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this man on. His name is David Rasbach. Did I say that right, David? I think I did. Rasbach?
Yes. Yes,
Perfect.
you said it right.
He's the choir director, and he's a choir director, probably the most famous choir director that we've seen in the last month or so, because he and his group, and say the name of the school for me if you don't mind.
It's not a school. It's a private choir, Rushingbrook Children's Choir.
And is there a Rushingbrook? Is it from a city called Rushingbrook, or is it just actually talking about a body of water?
Well, it's actually my name. Rasbach means rushing brook.
Oh, get out of here. Oh, that's nice. In what language?
German.
Boom. There you go. Okay, well, see, now we have the backstory. Nobody else got that, David.
It also could mean horse running by water.
Okay.
Horse running by water children's choir didn't quite make it. So,
well, I love the name of it. I want to play this piece of video that's now famous for people who are watching and listening. And you're right in the middle of doing the song. And we mentioned this a minute ago. I'm a musician. I play the national anthem at baseball games and basketball games and stuff on my saxophone. I know that there are 4 verses. We only hear the one verse, though, generally speaking. And this doesn't sound like the verse that we're used to. But let me play it and then show people again what happened as the choir was singing.
Okay.
And there it is. And people say, "Aw," in the background, and you look like you're wondering. They're clapping, which is great. These look like young kids. To me, David, they look like they're anywhere between, 7 or 6 years old until about 13 or 14. What's the age range?
The youngest little boy in the middle is 8.
Okay.
And the oldest girl is 17.
All right. So how long has the group been together?
Mostly around 13.
How long has the group been together?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
How long has the group been together?
9. Well, I've had it for 9 years. So I haven't had these children for 9 years.
Okay. It's davidrasbach.com, by the way. Go to his website, David, then last name is rasbach.com. He's the choir director, Rushingbrook Children's Choir. I love that it's named after you. I had no idea. So let's get into it. You guys make the plan to go. You're from what, North Carolina?
South Carolina.
Okay, it's one of the Carolinas. Here I am in Texas. What do I know? So South Carolina, and obviously they're all in uniform. Obviously you're out there directing them as the choir director. It looks to me like something that I would expect to hear any day of the week at the Capitol. What was the trip all about? When you made the plans to go, did you have to get special permission to go and tour the Capitol and even sing in the Capitol?
Yes. Yeah, I started the idea of this little tour was back in October of last fall. And I wanted originally to go to Williamsburg. I wanted the kids to see Williamsburg like I did when I was a kid. And so I contacted the Bruton Parish Church in Williamsburg to see if we could set up a concert at Bruton Parish. And that way the kids could learn a little bit about their history, the beginning of our country, and also to sing in the famous Bruton Parish Church. So as time went on, in January, I thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to go to Washington also and possibly sing in the Capitol? So I contacted a friend of mine, Micah Ray, and he has a lot of contacts in Washington. He does a lot of work for people there. And I asked him if he knew somebody that might be able to get us permission to sing in the Capitol. And so he went to work with Congressman Timmons' office, and ultimately Joe Wilson's office, and then the Speaker of the House. And this was 3 months before we arrived in Washington. We had permission from those offices. And by the time we got there on that Friday morning, it was confirmed again that we had permission from the Speaker of the House office. So we went there. We met outside of the Longworth building, which is a office building for the House of Representatives. And we went up to I think it was the 5th floor, to Joe Wilson's office to get pictures and to see his office and to meet the 4 people that would take us on a tour, which was planned. We went through the tunnels down under the ground to the new Welcome Center, which is fabulous. And they divided us up into 4 groups of 15. We had actually 62 people with us. There were 19 singers, and the rest were parents and siblings.
Great.
And we had 4 groups, 215 and 216, and they put passes on our shirts. They took us through the Capitol. We saw the rotunda, and we saw the crypt and several other places, the original Supreme Court room and many other places. And then the guide said, the next place we take you to will be National Statuary Hall, where you will be singing.
Boom.
And so we
I
there.
just want to stop you because this is all so eerie to me because it sounds like you did everything. You did it so much better than I would have. I'll tell you that, David. I would have gone there and I would have called like Nancy Mace's office, who I know, or I called Joe Wilson, said, hey, we're going to come by today. My family would like to sing a song in the rotunda and just see what they say. It sounds like you for 3 months, painfully, went through every single task you had to. So you're there,
Right.
the kids are ready to go, they're in uniform, you're ready to make it happen. Let's go sing. Then what happens?
Well, as we were lining up, Micah, the man who got all the permissions, was talking to, I'm losing his name now. He was from the...
From the Capitol Police?
He was from the architect of the Capitol.
Okay, very good.
And he gave Micah a card and said, here's my card. If they try to stop you, then call me. So
Sounds
we didn't
good.
know why they would do that.
Right.
But we had his permission also.
So the Speaker of the House, and by the way, the Speaker of the House runs the Capitol. He's the boss of the Capitol. If you got the okay from the Speaker, you're good to go. Nobody had any right to stop you. But go ahead.
Right. Well, this man actually called the Speaker of the House right then and made sure that we had permission before we started. So there we were. We started to sing, and we got through to the end of the first verse, and the crowd that was, I'm told that there were maybe 300 people in that room, which
wow.
The room could have held 1,000. It's a huge room.
Yeah.
At the end of the first verse, they started to applaud and shout a little bit and whistle. And we continued. They didn't realize we were going to sing another verse. As we continued, they quieted down and listened to the second verse, which was verse 4. And when we got to the final phrase of verse 4, the land of the free and the home of the brave, I was tapped on the shoulder. I don't know that your video showed that. There are several other videos that show.
No, it did. The video that we just showed a man looked like he had a goatee come and tap on your shoulder and then said something to you, and then you cut the choir off. You know, like I was in choir and band, and this means stop playing or stop singing.
Right.
So I saw you do that, but there was interestingly, David, and it's David Rasbach, and David RASBACH.com is his website. Rushingbrook Children's Choir. He's the choir director. In watching that video, all the news reports were saying that a female Capitol Police officer stopped you when clearly it was a guy that walked up and tapped you on the shoulder. What did he say to you?
The man who tapped me on the shoulder was from Joe Wilson's office. He was one of our guides. And there's a video that shows, before I was stopped, there's a video that shows him turning around as if he's leaving, and the female Capitol Police grab him by the shirt in the back shoulder.
Wow.
And turns him around, and then she puts her hand out and says to him, go shut them down. And the reason that I know that she said that was because Micah was there listening. He was right there in that group with the Capitol Police, and he heard her say, quote, go shut them down. So the man from Wilson's office was doing the right thing by obeying the police. So he came and he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, you need to stop. And I said, you mean now? And he said,
right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you were almost done.
Right. Yes. I said, you mean now? And he said, yes, very emphatically. And so I cut them off right there.
Did you have an opportunity to? We've got a little bit of a delay, and I apologize about that. I don't mean to talk over you. Did you get any indication directly from the officer what the problem was?
Yes, I walked over after we were shut down. I walked over and I said, "What is the problem?" The first thing out of her mouth was, "This is," I'm quoting now, "this is considered an act of demonstration, and we don't allow demonstrating inside the Capitol." So I said, "This is not a demonstration. These are just school children singing their national anthem in the capital of their country."
Right.
And she said, "Yeah, well, that's considered an act of demonstration." I said, "How could that be demonstrating? This is just singing." And she said, "Well, music is not allowed inside the Capitol."
Since
which
when?
is not which is not true.
Of course not.
There are many videos of people singing. There's a group of 80 pastors singing Amazing Grace in the rotunda. There's a man playing his guitar in the rotunda. There's a group of some kind of priests from some religion that I'm not aware of that were all singing. There's lots of singing.
I believe I think Lizzo just sang and or played a flute in the Capitol recently too. Who's a big a big singer. So that was just a lie. Did we ever get to the bottom of why she thought that she had to stop it? Because there was no really good reason for that. Especially if you've got 3 months worth of permission, David, to allow you to go and do this.
I told her that we had permission, and she said, "No, you don't." And I said, "Yes, we have permission," and I named the 3 offices. I said, including the Speaker of the House, which was confirmed even this morning. She said, "No, you don't. If they must have lied to you," is what she said.
Oh, come on.
I said, "No, they didn't lie. We have permission to sing." And she said, "Well, we're not going to let you sing." And then she said, and she denies saying this, but I have witnesses that say that I'm telling the truth. She said, "Also, this could be offensive to some." And
Wow.
I said, "The national anthem being offensive to some people?" And she said, "Yes." So I went back to the parents and I said what I had just heard from them. One of the parents said, "This is treason." And another parent said, "I can't believe this is happening in our country." And a few other things were said like that. I went to the children and who were still standing there wondering what was going on.
Right.
And I said, "We're not allowed to continue singing." And some of them said, "Aw," and I said, no. We're not going to complain. We're not going to have negative attitudes. We're going to show good attitudes and respect. And we're going to walk out with our heads high, and we're going to enjoy the fact that we were able to sing in the Capitol. So I led them out. They all walked out very respectfully. I turned back to the Capitol Police, who were now on the other side of the doorway watching us leave. And I said, "I would like you to know that I respect authority." And I turned my hand to the children and I said, "We try to teach these children to obey authority and to respect authority. And so I am going to obey what you said. You want us to stop? We're stopped." But I said, "This is wrong." And she said, "No, it's not wrong. You're not allowed to sing in the Capitol." And I said, "Ma'am, this is wrong." I said, children should be able to sing. I said, "These children have traveled 1,000 miles on a round trip to come and sing at the Capitol. Do you have any idea how they will feel about this? Their first trip as a child to the Capitol, and this is what they're going to remember." And she shrugged her shoulders and she said, "Well, you can take them outside. They are allowed to sing outside on the steps." I said, "Well, we have permission to sing inside today." And she said, "No, you don't." And I said, "Well, yes, we do, but we're leaving. We'll leave quietly, but this isn't over." I said, "We're going to contact our congressmen and senators, and we're going to try to do something about this." And she shrugged her shoulders and she said, "Well, some people were offended by it." And I just shrugged my shoulders and I left.
Yeah, you should have said,
So
well, more people were offended by your attitude, ma'am. So, you know what I mean? I mean, the idea that she was on this power trip doesn't make any sense. Democrats and Republicans alike have all agreed with you and said, of course, you can sing there. And you had all these permissions. It's David Rasbach. His name is David, Rasbach. And go to thatname.com to find his website. The choir director, Rushingbrook Children's Choir from South Carolina. Nancy Mace, Joe Wilson are now saying, you've got to get legislation done. Let freedom sing. It's an act that would allow people to sing inside the Capitol, which is great. But what were the ramifications here? Did you ever get an apology from the Capitol Police or from Speaker McCarthy's office? What happened afterwards?
Well, Mr. Timmons called me on the phone, and he apologized. He said, this shouldn't have happened. He said, you had all the permission that you needed. We made sure of that. He said, we've talked to the Capitol Police and told them that this was not right. And he said, you will be getting an apology from the Capitol Police, which I have not gotten. There was a statement by the Capitol Police that was not in any way an apology. The statement claimed that the offices lied. They actually used the word lied to them and to us, the choir. They denied having said that this could offend, which she said 2 times. The first time she said this might offend someone. When I went back, she said there were people who were offended, and I have witnesses that heard her say that also. So they have lied to the public about what happened. However, Mr. Timmons said, we're inviting you back to the Capitol at our expense to finish your song.
Wow.
And he said you will be allowed to sing anywhere you want to, even the floor of the House. If that's where you want to sing, we'll let you sing on the floor of the House. So that's a good thing.
Doing the right thing pays off. David, I'm frankly out of time. I'll talk to you for 2 hours if I could. Just if you don't mind, you were about to say, and then wrap that in about 15 seconds for me, and then we'll make sure we have you back again. Are you going to go?
Yes, we're going to go back. We don't have plans yet for when that will be, but this bill, the Let Freedom Sing Act, is a good thing, even though it shouldn't have to happen. And the second big news was that President Trump sent us a video for us mentioning the choir and what happened, and he invited us to sing at his rally in South Carolina, which is a week from Saturday. And we are singing there. They've asked us to sing 3 pieces. And we're going to premiere a song that was written just for the Freedom Act. The song itself is called Let Freedom Sing.
I love it.
That we're going to premiere there.
Well, listen, from something bad, you took lemons, you made lemonade, and then some. Praise the Lord, as you say, in your response to this. I'm going to say it along with you. Keep on singing loudly and proudly. And do me a favor and come back on, would you?
Thank you.
David,
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. DavidRasbach.com. Go there.
Good to meet you.
Okay, good to meet you. We're back after this. Stay right here.